All right, welcome back, everybody. Fire the cannon. It has been a couple of weeks, not as long as the last time since we talked to you, but a couple of weeks have passed since our last episode of Fire the Cannon. Jeremy over here joined alongside, once again, Brett Swinney from NetSN. Brett, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Getting towards the end of basketball season. We got one more week, I guess, of some hoops. And kind of the off season, for me at least. We'll be doing games through the baseball and softball season, but I'm looking forward to some more free time, maybe to talk some wrestling on some other show we have.
Yeah, man, no doubt. You know, it's funny because you mentioned that it's kind of the off season for you. I would argue at Brook Hill it's the busy season, and we're going to kind of see that today because we got a lot to talk about and a lot of different things. And so we want to wrap up, obviously, the basketball seasons for our guys and our girls as both teams finished up this past week, which leads us to more sports getting started. Baseball and softball. Baseball's been playing. Softball's going to get their first game in later today if you're listening on Tuesday. Soccer, their first playoff games are tonight if you're listening on Tuesday. Once again, golf's going on, track's going on, tennis is going on, Brett. There's everything going on. So even though you're going to have some time off, this is kind of the wacky part of the year for Brook Hill folks, especially with Spark coming up next week and spring break after that. And I tell people, Brett, if you can make it, if you're a Brook Hill student or a teacher, if you make it to spring break, you got it whooped because we're going to come back and there's about maybe 7 or 8 weeks left, but not a lot. And so
it's a lot to get into that 7 or 8 weeks, Jeremy.
Listen, there is, and you know, you've never really been a part of this, but you know, if you're a spring sport coach trying to get all your games in and get everybody, you know, the work they need before you get to the district part of the schedule and the playoffs, it's kind of hectic. And I'll be honest, I love it. My kids are involved in a bunch of different things in the spring, and it's a fun time. And I think the people that their kids are doing those things, they love it too. We host, it feels like 38 track meets, but I think it's just 4 track meets we're hosting, but we're adding 2 more this year because we're hosting the district track meet for our district. And so those days go by pretty quickly. So it'll be fun and a lot of good stuff going on, but let's just go ahead and jump in, Brett, and let's talk about basketball wrapping up last week. And let's start with the guys because, you know, the guys going into the playoffs, the district beside us was so stinking good. They have Lubbock Trinity, who was the 1 seed, who has just been dominating people over there. But the number 2 and 3 teams were tied. Grace Prep out of Arlington and Colleyville Covenant were tied. They had a playoff game, and Grace Prep won that game. So it meant our guys had to go on the road to take on Grace Prep, who's a top 5 or 6 team in the state. And it's a team that scores a ton of points. And just as Coach Agnew always does, Brett, he found the right game plan to give his team the best chance to succeed. And without going in and replaying the entire game, I think it was a 19-16 game at the half or something like that. We were down by 2 or 3. Came back and
took the air out of the ball, Jeremy.
So man, dude, and it was run to perfection. We'll talk about that in a second. But we were tied going to the fourth quarter with those guys. And had some opportunities down the stretch to win the game, but the final ended up being 32-30. Grace Prep won, but you're talking, Brett, about you mentioned taking the air out of the ball, but man, they ran that triangle offense sometimes for a minute and a half or 2 minutes at a time. And one thing I give Coach Agnew credit for any day of the week is exploiting the other team's weaknesses and getting his team to execute it, and he did it to perfection and gave us a chance to win a game that not a lot of people probably thought we had a chance to win.
Yeah, I think, going into I talked to several coaches, girls, also about playing in Grace Prep. Tough place to go in and play. It really is. And so to go in and, say lose a game by 2 points, I mean, it's a tough way to lose. The way they lost it, had some free throws at the end. They weren't able to execute those. And that's a tough way to lose. But, I mean, if you're going to go on the road, I mean, you went out with everything you had. You got a team like that. And I think Coach Agnew will admit, throughout the season, the thing they struggled at is finding that number 2 guy. Beck played well all year, just didn't have that consistent score. And so being able to game plan something to go into a place like Grace Prep and have a chance to win the game at the end, I mean, that's all you can ask as a coach.
Yeah, and to kind of put in perspective, Prince of Peace is a team in our district that we lost to twice. That is a top 4 or 5 team in the state as well. And the
And they
next
were good.
week,
They were good.
yeah,
I saw them in person.
no, Prince of Peace was good, and Grace Prep beat them by 18 the next game.
I saw that score. I was like, wow.
So I think that I was there in person watching the game, the boys' game, obviously, and there was a moment there where the look of "oh no, we're about to get beat" was on their head coach's face pretty quick. Like it was early because teams try to run up and down with a team like that, and you can't do it. You can't run up and down the floor with those guys. And Prince of Peace found that out the next week. By the way,
yeah, that's what they play. They play it up and down south
because
too.
they wanted to run up and down, and so Coach Agnew took the air out of the ball. The guys bought into the game plan. They executed. And here's what's funny is those guys all week long. My kid's on the team, right? And Luke was saying all week long, we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. Now, first off, kudos to Coach Agnew for getting guys to buy into the system enough that we're going to win the game. Not just we're going to keep it close, we're going to win it, right? Yeah. But then for them to go out and execute it. And it's one thing to say you're going to hold the ball, but holding the basketball is hard to do. Like, people don't realize that sometimes. It's you get high school kids to hold the basketball and eat clock. That's hard to do.
They just want to shoot it. It's very
they can't help it. We'll talk about our game in a minute, but we saw that in our game too, right? Like it's hard to get people to hold the ball. I don't. People say, well, that shouldn't be that hard. It is. Sorry, it's hard to do. So it was you mentioned the lack of a second score, and I think that's something that hopefully they'll develop over the course of the off season through the summer. And you lose a bunch of seniors, guys that played big roles. Lex Rich, being one as a starter. Avery Coe, Ryder Williams, those guys started. Osagi was, one of the first guys off the bench. I think there's 6 seniors is what it is, and they're going to have to replace, quite a bit. And some guys like to step up. And if there's anybody that, I've said this before, he's one of my best friends, but I believe this, that if there's anybody that can do it, it's Coach Agnew. And so he'll get them going, and they'll be fine as we move to the new district, which, everybody says, oh, we're moving up to 5A, but I would argue the district may be a little easier. Our district this year on the boys' side, I don't think people realize it was with Prince of Peace and McKinney and Covenant, a playoff team. Dallas Christian's always tough. It was not an easy district to just walk through.
Yeah, it was. The Covenant came in and stole one there at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would. It's tough. I haven't seen some of the other schools that'll be in the district. I'll be interested to kind of get a different glance. We've covered you guys the last 2 years in that same district, so getting to see some different schools will be kind of cool. But just to see the different competition level, and a couple of long road trips this next year, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it's new to you, but really we're back home where we were before that for a while. Now the Austin stuff is different. And I think we talked about this last time. It just kind of eases your fears. We're only playing one and I think in volleyball, and I think in basketball, I think we're playing I think all 3 of those are just playing one round and then a district tournament at the end. And so that'll eliminate a lot of the travel. For example, the girls next year only have to go to Austin one time. And so I think the boys, I know the boys go twice. So it's not as bad as we maybe thought originally it was going to be, but that'll be interesting to see how the guys.
So is that going to be more of a y'all go opposite?
No, we'll be together. We'll be together. We just the second Austin trip for the guys is against Austin Regents, and they don't have a girls team, and so we would have had to go twice if they had a girls team, but they don't. So we finally got that schedule somewhat finalized. And
so what would be the tournament then? Is it like a neutral site somewhere?
So I can't speak for volleyball. I know in basketball what they're talking about is it's if you're the 1 or 2 seed, you'll get a bye in the first round. And the 3 and 4 would host the 5 and 6 on their own campus on that Tuesday of that week. Mm-hmm. And then the 2 winners of those and the 1 and 2 seeds on the girls and the boys side are going to play at a neutral site. And I think it's only going to be neutral because we're so spread out. I think they're talking about maybe renting a gym in Waco or something like that. But in the past we've done that, and it's just been we put it in one area one year, and like it would be in East Texas one year, and Dallas the next. But now that we have, kind of a bigger area.
Like a triangle. You've got
Yeah.
Austin, East Texas, and then DFW.
Yeah. So I think, if they do, I'm not involved in those discussions. I mean, those are AD decisions, but if they went to Waco, it'd be fine. I think that'd be a good, it's close enough. You can drive back and forth if you want to instead of staying the night. But yet it kind of and honestly, if we're going to do a tournament, I'd rather be neutral. It kind of gives it a big, kind of a big game atmosphere, I guess, to get all those schools in one gym, and it'll be fun.
Smell something, Jerry. It's maybe a Netison broadcast, that tournament.
Listen, always. So it'll be fun, man. I'm excited about, going forward, but I know the guys will, the guys will get it fixed, and it'll be a big year for them next year. And
they got a guy named Beck Langmeyer coming back, so that's always
yeah. I mean,
he's not bad. He
can score. He can score, and you're right. I think that those guys know if they can get that second score, it'll make Beck even better. I mean, truthfully, once again, people that I don't consider myself to be a basketball guru by any stretch of the imagination, but people who don't watch it a lot or don't think about it this way don't realize that if you have a star player, you have to have, like Batman has to have Robin, because otherwise defense is just completely focused on one guy and you're beat.
Either that or he has this bad shooting night and there's no one else to fall to.
Yeah. And so
somebody else can score, it kind of cramps your offensive ability a little bit.
You just gotta have defenses have to have another person to worry about. And we had some guys that could score this year. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound negative towards everybody else, but it wasn't consistently one person enough to move a defense. And,
it's like, hey, this guy, we need to get over to this guy tonight. He's our another. Yeah. Bex doesn't have it. Let's get it over to him. But there wasn't. It seemed like every night there was a different person, and it just wasn't enough. It was kind of just spread out. So they really just somebody else that could hit some shots, timely shots when they needed it. And there was times where Avery Coe would hit some shots. You had Lex Rich inside would have good games.
Yeah,
didn't have consistent, scoring from that second guy. So, hopefully he'll. I know Coach Agnew will be working with those guys and have them ready to go next season, though.
He'll get them right. So let's just move into our game. And our season on the girls' side ended as well. Ended Saturday in the area championship. We lost to Grace Prep 54-45. And before we talk about that one, Brett, I want to go back.
Yeah, let's talk about the other game first.
I want to be selfish for a minute and talk about Monday night and the regional. Or I'm sorry, we which one's first? I always get this confused. We won the area game first. Yeah. We lost in the regional. All right, so which doesn't always make sense to me, but whatever. All right. So anyway, Monday night we hosted Lubbock Trinity, and won that game. And man,
if you didn't see that game, you need to go back right now and watch it.
You need to go back and watch it.
It's there forever. So I know Coach Hubbard probably couldn't watch it enough times.
I may watch it when we're done with this. Here's the thing, man. Like, yeah, we won the game, and that's great, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But man, the Brook Hill people just showed up on Monday night, and the game started at 6. I walked out about 5:30-ish, 5:35-ish, and it was already standing room only. And
yeah, there wasn't a seat empty. There was people just standing around. We've gone to a lot of games out there, and even for the guys, I've never seen it that crowded.
Well, and it was to the point to where our home fans were having to sit in the visitor section. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I've tried to thank as many people as I can. I cannot thank people enough for coming out there. It meant a lot to the girls. It meant a lot to their families. It meant a lot to me. I'll be honest with you, Brett. Like, I don't have any shame saying that. Like, when I took over 4 years ago, there were times I didn't blame people for not being, like, listen, if I could have gone to dinner, then maybe I would have too. I don't know. But to see what we've done and to win it the way we did, and for those, I will probably, Brett, never forget the sound of that gym at times on Monday night. I just won't. And fortunately, it's on NetSN on YouTube forever, and I can go back and watch it. I have the huddle clip. Our man KO from KLTV took a lot of great shots, and he sent them to me. I've got those on my phone forever. And I told people winning that game against Lubbock in the area round, it wasn't the final destination, right? Like, we're not satisfied. Okay, we won that game, and that's enough. It wasn't. However, when you can go back and look on at the end of the year, it was pretty special. And I shared a picture on Facebook that I know a lot of people listening are friends with me on Facebook and they saw it. But man, I told the girls when the game ended, I want you to go over and thank those fans. I want you to thank your fans for coming in. I want you to thank our students because our students were, dude. First off, our student section is always good. They were exceptional. They were exceptional that night, and we won't talk a lot about maybe some of the things they said, but they were. Listen, I try not to get caught up in what they're saying too much, and I don't always hear everything they say. But there were a few times on Monday night I was like, man, that's pretty good. That's pretty funny. But it was good. But, beating Lubbock, it was a tough game for us. I told you going in, it was the biggest matchup concern for me because they do have the 6-footer on the inside. And listen, they played their butt off, man. Like, we win the game. In overtime, obviously, by now you probably heard. But we win 54-53 in overtime. And we earned every one of those 54 points. I mean, it was – and they earned every one of their 53, man. Like, what I hate is that I can say this. I guess I don't care. I went back and listened to the Lubbock broadcast, and because I always want to know what people say about our team and our kids. I think it's important for scouting sometimes to hear what other people say. But they were just so negative about the officiating and I hate that it has any kind of a stink on it like that because I thought the officials.
It wasn't a NetSN broadcast, Jeremy. They can all be like NetSN. That's just.
Yeah, you guys never criticize anybody or any coaches, specifically me. But, like I thought they officiated the game the way they should in the playoffs. You let teams be physical, and if there's a foul, you call it. And if there's not, you don't. And it just takes away from the game for both teams. I told the coach after the game, like, it's a shame somebody had to lose that one. But, man, I told you this after the game on the broadcast, and people that have watched it have heard me say this, but for Remy Tonroy and Lila Morris to hit the two biggest shots of the game mean a lot to me because they've been in the program the longest. I've had both of them. Remy since 6th grade, and then Lila's a 3-year starter for us, been a 3-year captain for us. Remy hits the shot with, I think, 7 seconds left in regulation to send it to overtime, and we even got a little bit of a smile out of her afterwards, which was kind of funny because she never plays with any emotion, but she did. And then for Lila,
we got a smile out of her on Saturday.
I saw that.
We started talking to her right there at the she is always serious, and we kind of got her to crack a smile over there by us.
Yeah, but Lila's been a 3-year captain, and you guys know this, and if you're listening, I mean, people that know Lila know her and know how she is. But freshmen aren't normally named captain. I named her captain basically from day one of her freshman year, just because of the kind of person she is and what she does for us. And she hit 2 huge threes in overtime, one to tie it up and one to give us the win with about 13 seconds left. And I'm telling you, that was the longest 13 seconds of my life afterwards, Brett. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hey, it was pretty long for us over there too. I mean,
they only got 6 shots at the bucket at the end. I don't know how it happened, but luckily none of them went in, and we won the game and had a chance to take on Grace Prep Saturday for a berth in the state tournament. And, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it, but man, we game plan wise, we came up with a great plan. Our girls executed it 100%. Listen, I know we talk all the time about control the controllables. You only can control what you can control. And unfortunately, in the game of basketball, the biggest thing you can't control is whether the ball goes in the hole or not. Like, great shooters can't even make the ball go in the hole. Like, it's a hard game, right? And unfortunately, we shot it as poorly as we have all year percentage-wise. We had one game worse, and it was the game we lost at All Saints, which says a lot about the situation. But, man, we were down 20 with 6 minutes left. And I don't know that I thought we were going to quit, Brett. But I wasn't sure how we would respond to that because we were so, we had such a high on Monday and we were not shooting it well during the game. And I thought, okay, it would be real easy. And nobody would really blame them at this point if they just kind of melded in, Instead, they did the opposite. And with 2 minutes left, they got to 7 points. So in a 4-minute stretch, we took it from 20 to 7. They extended it back, I think, to 9 or 10. We got it back to 7. And had a chance to make it 5, if not 4. and couple of bounces went the wrong way for us, and we couldn't ever get it closer than 7. We ended up losing by 9, 54-45. But I tell you, I told the girls this: I've never been more proud of a group than I was of them in the fourth quarter on Saturday, because down by 26 minutes left, I would venture to say that a lot of people mailed it in at that point, and they didn't. So
yeah, so they had 23 points through 3 quarters.
yeah,
22 in the fourth.
Yeah,
just didn't quit. They played hard, and it's one of those games. I've played a lot of basketball, and there's times where the ball just doesn't go in the hoop, and you just have to keep fighting. They did. They kept shooting, and at one point, I think me and Kyle had y'all down about 10% shooting, and they were shooting about 50%.
yeah.
And for you guys to continue to battle and stay in the game, I thought was a testament to the girls and to the coaching staff. Y'all, you kept them in it, kept their heads up, and gave you guys a chance at the end to make a run. Just was a little bit too much to overcome at that point. But still, hats off to the season you guys had. I just enjoyed you being a part of it a little bit, just a minute part. I even got complimented as coming in the gym. The girls were checking out my NetSN outfit, and they said I matched right. I didn't go too much of one color.
You went with the sandwich method, they call it.
There he is, a sandwich method. So I'm kind of getting to know that they see us come in, and I think it's just a cool thing to get to be a part of you guys' journey. So I've enjoyed it. This has been a fun year, and next year maybe we can win a couple extra games.
Yeah, we're gonna win a couple more next year. Don't worry. Here's the funny thing: people kind of look at me like I'm stupid that I give you guys as much access as I do. Number one is because I like you. I tell people all the time I consider you and Kyle and Corey and Brandon when he's around to be some of my better friends, and so I'll give you any access you want. I think if you're not promoting your program, I think you're hurting it in a way. But man, it's been great for our kids to have you guys there, and not losing any players. We'll get everybody back, and it's exciting to see what happens. And it's in the private school world, people come and they go, and you never know who's going to show up. But we'll have the core of our group back either way, and it'll be exciting. I'm excited about what they're going to do, and I think the best part about it, and I'll wrap it up with this. I think the best part is that the feeling they had in their gut when we walked out of that gym Saturday losing is probably going to drive them more than anything else. I probably couldn't motivate them by saying anything that'll motivate them the way that.
They got a taste of it. They were that close. That does a lot. And as someone that last loss, whether it's your senior, whatever, you're going to remember that one. So now the next year, that's the only thing they're going to remember in the back. They may somewhat remember that game. I think long term they're going to remember that overtime win.
Yeah,
sure. I think that'll be one they'll hang on to. But that last sting, man, that's good motivation.
That's what you got to use in the gym, when you're working between now and October. And I'm with you. I think at the end of the day, I emailed our parents kind of a wrap up email today, and
it's history for you guys at school and all.
Yeah.
The program itself never have won a playoff game, and that's the first one. And it was like that.
Yeah. Well,
I think you might not even. I don't think it even going to sink into you. You may look back 10, 15 years from now and just realize how big that was for the entire program and the scope of just the Brook Hill School in general.
Well, I think the people that were there when we were 4-20 in 2020, 2021 knew it was a big relief. And but when we look back on it, man, I think you look back to AAC, just the shooting performance we put on there, 9 NBA threes in that game. Beating DC at their place. That was nuts. It's crazy to think that we beat DC to end a 40-game winning streak, and that's the second biggest win of the year. If you'd have told me we were going to beat DC, I'd have said I don't really care what happens next, but that wasn't true.
Just get the rest of it. You don't care about the rest of it. Just we beat DC, okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot more good than what happened Saturday. So we're excited, but that's enough about us. Let's talk about some teams that have a chance to start their playoff journey tonight. Both of them at home, and you can see both of these games on NetSN. And let me just warn you, you'll have a great commentary crew as we will be there.
It's gonna be must tune in.
Yeah, it is. It is must tune in.
There's
maybe
going to be there may be some court references about the soccer players playing on a court.
that is my one goal is I will not say court in either game tonight.
How much are we wagering on that one?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't. So here's the thing: it's must tune in because you're going to be able to watch it if you're not there. But it may be must mute at some point. We'll see. we'll see what happens. 4 hours of us doing soccer could be that could be entertaining. But we'll see what happens. But let's talk about it because man, there are two huge games tonight at home as the girls soccer team, the district champion girls soccer team, hosts their first playoff game in the I believe it's the area
round.
As the girls are taking on Arlington Pantego. And Brett, the girls wrapped up as we recorded last time. They were getting ready to play Prince of Peace. They were getting ready to see what they were made of. They go undefeated in district play, which is a huge thing. They win the district, get the number 1 seed, which actually gives them a great path to getting to Round Rock in the state Final Four here in a couple of weeks. But it's an exciting night to have the girls and the boys there in the playoff game. But really for this girls team, that the program has won state championships in the past, but it's been a minute since we've been to that point. Now they made the playoffs last year, and but this team, it feels different. It feels like they got the horses to. I shouldn't say that to my girls. I feel bad. You know what I mean? They got the gas in the tank here to go win the whole thing. I mean, they really do. And this is the first step, and it's the only chance to see them at home. It'd be a great opportunity for you to come out tonight to Harrington and see what's going on.
Yeah, one last get a grasp of warm weather until it gets cold again.
Whew, man.
We're about to hit another cold spell, I think, starting on Wednesday.
Well, that's usually what happens when the soccer playoffs get here, Brett. I've been
to
enough.
Weird. It's going to be like 80 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, and then the next time because I'm broadcasting the game, Brett. Because if I was going to be sitting in the stands, it would be 20. Because that's just the way it works.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but hey, at least we'll have a nice, comfy. It'll be room temperature in the press.
It'll be good. So let's talk about this Pantego team. So Pantego comes in 6-4 in their district. They were 7-6-1 overall. So not as many games. I'm trying to look at their schedule for maybe some common opponents along the way, and I don't really see any that we played as well. I mean, there's not. I'm going to look and make sure. But I think that, definitely Brook Hill's the favorite in this one. I mean, okay, let me see. There might be Oak Ridge. Okay, so our girls played Oak Ridge in our tournament back on December 2nd. We beat them 4-0. Pantego beat Oak Ridge 4-2 about 2 weeks before that. So, and that's really, I'm trying to think, this is terrible planning here, but I'm trying to make sure we're good.
Not a whole lot of games, though.
Yeah, compared to us, I mean, our guys, our girls are 17-3-1, 10-0 in district play. So 21 games in versus, 14. So, and you get a home playoff game. And I told you this, home teams in the playoffs and TAPS win at like a 90% clip. I mean, that's just kind of the advantage you have. And this girls soccer team, scoring wise, they have Hadley Clark, who scores a ton of goals. Scarlett Kerr scores a bunch of goals. But then they've had other girls who've come along and scored goals in different situations. Caroline Smith is a goal scorer. I mean, they really have 3 legit weapons on the offensive end. Ifya Bagunde has been amazing in net for them. I mean, I think that, and I think, is that hockey or soccer? I don't know. Anyway, she's been amazing as the keeper.
That's you're a soccer. You have a goalie too in hockey, so you're okay.
I'm trying to get my lingo right, so Coach Collins didn't roast me for this. But, but on the defensive end, man, they're just so good. Kaylee Fitzgerald back there on the back row, Dre Tonroy, and Savage, all those girls who do such a great job on the defensive end. It's a complete team, Brett. And I'm personally, as much as I wish I was playing in the state tournament this week, I'm glad I get to kind of watch them as they go on this playoff run.
I'm excited to get to kind of sit and watch the girls. That's my time. We didn't get to broadcast them before. Just couldn't get my help out there in time. So, but I'm excited to get to do the girls this time. I got to watch them a little bit, and I can't remember who it was. It was Prince of Peace they played last time. And they were just. It seemed like they were just quicker to the ball, and just that extra gear that the other team didn't have last time. So I'm excited to see them in playoffs, and hopefully we can get a good crowd. Maybe the bodyguards will show up, have a good student section there. Maybe they can all same people that came to the basketball game need to venture over to the soccer stadium here.
Man, no doubt they need to, and it's going to be a good night. I'm excited about it. Now, at the girls' game, Brett, you were there. They gave away a half-court basketball shot for $100, right?
I saw that for the soccer kick.
So now they're doing a soccer kick, and
I want to win $100. I can probably kick that thing in.
I'm not sure exactly how far it's going to be away. We did this before.
It's midfield. That's what they said on the flyer.
Yeah, they probably got to move that back. That's
too close?
To me, that probably seems too close. Now,
can you make one from midfield, Coach Hubbard?
No.
I'd like to see that.
but I'm not your typical high school athlete.
I did play soccer, not in high school, but I did play soccer growing up. So maybe I could go left-footed and right-footed probably from there. Maybe.
Well, here's the deal. Whatever it takes to get people out there, we want people to come watch. It's going to be a great night. Your last chance to watch me home.
Too. Y'all should do that at football. Have a field goal attempt for money at a football game.
That's what we should do. You're right. We should do that.
Y'all do everything else, like make it a so many yard field goal.
We could do it in baseball and softball. You got to hit a home run.
That'd be tough. Home run would be tough.
Well, I mean,
if you hit a home run, you probably should be on the baseball team.
I mean, Brett, they're not trying to give away money. I mean, the point is you're trying to make it challenging enough to make it difficult. But you
might find you a baseball player out of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, the half court shot, 2 people made it, and they weren't the 2 people that I would have thought would make it, but they did. So, shout out to Cole Schluter and Davis Green; they both made it. But anyway, so come out to the soccer game, man. Be there at 5:00 for the girls' game. The one thing I will say, and I say this biased as a girls' head coach, our girls' programs from top to bottom have been really good over the last couple of years. Like, we this year, all the girls' teams so far have made the playoffs. We've had state champion cheer last year. They were 3rd this year. Softball was in the state championship game last year. Girls track won the district track meet for the first time that I can remember.
Has anybody not made the playoffs in any sport?
This year so far, no.
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, the net SN effect. Like we had a football playoff game. We had a basketball playoff game. Now we're doing soccer playoff game. Softball and baseball have always been good, man. It's just a good year.
Yeah. I don't even want to say what I was going to say next. But here's the good news. Neither team's playing Grace Prep tomorrow. So, because
Grace Prep good at soccer too?
I hope not, because the one hurdle that no Brook Hill team has been able to overcome this year has been Grace Prep. Football and volleyball lost to Grace Prep in the playoffs. Boys and girls basketball both lose to Grace Prep in the playoffs. Yeah, I've thought about it. We've thought about it every day. So
that hurts. Okay.
So we're hoping they're not in the playoffs.
The challenge is a sport needs to beat Grace Prep. That's the challenge. Just
one for all of us. You're playing for everybody at this point. So, but tomorrow it's Pantego. Tomorrow, Pantego is the opponent for the girls. Be there at 5:00. Watch Coach Rodrigo and his group and get them a win and move on to the regional round, which I believe would be Saturday. But I'm not holding them to that. That's the official playing date for TAPS, but it could be Friday. So then the boys will take next. They'll be up at 7 tomorrow night, and the boys are taking on McKinney Christian. McKinney Christian 11-7 on the year. They were the 3rd place team in their district. They finished right behind Dallas Covenant and Colleyville Covenant. Now they have played some teams that we have played. Mainly, they lost to Prince of Peace 6-0. Yeah, and we of course beat Prince of Peace 4-1, and then our guys lost to them 2-0, and that game a little funky to even talk about because at the end of the day we just couldn't lose by 3 or more, and the weather was kind of funky. Coach Collins and you were talking about that, I know, the other day, and basically there comes a point in that game where you're just like, okay, we got to make sure we don't lose by more than 2.
Let's just play for the district championship was what he said.
Yeah, for sure. And so credit to those guys. for getting that done. The only other mutual opponent that they have is McKinney played Dallas Lutheran and beat Lutheran 8-0 back in November. Our guys beat Lutheran 9-0 and 9-0. So, it's a fairly evenly matched game given, looking at record wise and who their opponents are. Same thing. Our guys have played a lot more games, 17-1-1 on the year, 13-1 in district play. McKinney, as I mentioned, 11-7, 8-4. And I think on the girls' side, maybe the district was not as strong from top to bottom. I think this district the boys were in, the McKinney was in, was a little bit better. So I don't think you should look at it as the third seed doesn't mean as much as maybe it does in some other sports. So, but it's going to be fun, man. Like our guys are playing at a high level. Emil Inglis is back after he was out for a little bit. Gives them another great goal scorer, of course. Alejandro Martinez.
Martinez is my man.
Man, that dude scores.
Goal scoring machine.
So when we did the broadcast last time, we had mentioned that he had set the school scoring record and he added to it. I want to say as of that night, he had 38 goals was what it was.
40 now, right?
So he's over 40 now, I believe. I'll get that number for sure before the broadcast. But
I'm getting my vocals ready too. If you want to hear some goal scorers, some goal broadcasting, you got to tune in.
We may not know a lot about soccer, Brett, but we had some great goal calls.
Yes.
We had you had the great classic goal call. I had the classic high school football homer. Get in there, ball. It was perfect.
It was great. And the good news is Prince of Peace is on the other part of the bracket, so you won't have to see them till at least the semis, right? Right.
Yeah, and I think that's probably where we're headed.
And they have to play Covenant, right?
Yeah,
Covenant's got a good team in this bracket, probably.
Yeah, and that's
good news too. There's no Grace Prep in this bracket, Jeremy.
Oh man, now you're speaking our language. So that's a good sign for everybody. That when you look at the boys bracket, Prince of Peace, you see them. You would see Prince of Peace in the semis, which would be next week on the 7th. Which I think that other than that, you're getting down on the other side of the bracket. It's the southern region, so to speak. I'm not sure if anybody over there is as good as our top teams with Colleyville Covenant and Prince of Peace and us, and Dallas Covenant in the next round for the boys would be a tough matchup too. So I think our half of the bracket is pretty good, and all that'll take place tomorrow night, 7:00, Carrington Stadium. Girls at 5:00. Be there for both, and if you can't make it to Bullard, check us out on YouTube on NetSN. Myself and Brett will be there, and if nothing else, it'll be entertaining.
We can promise you it will be entertaining.
It will be something. But check that out tomorrow night. It'll be fun, and we need a big crowd. So students get out there, families come out there and watch. Man, you guys did a great job supporting basketball. Now it's time as soccer starts their run. Get out there and do the same thing.
There's not going to be bad weather. It's going to be nice.
It is going to be nice. Let me tell you where else the weather was nice today, Brett. As
golf course? Oh,
the golf course. Yeah. Okay. I wasn't there playing.
Oh, you weren't there?
No,
I wish I was there.
I had to work today. But our guys,
we need to call a golf tournament. That would be Hubbard with a putt for par.
Yeah. Well, no, definitely not a putt for par.
It nips out. Yeah, the club has been thrown.
Yeah, you gotta get close enough to the hole for it to lip out. It's funny you say that because we actually talked about when COVID happened and we were talking about live streaming all of our games and how we were going to do that. We talked about golf tournaments. We're like, man, we'll just rent a cart and put a GoPro on me and I'll just go out there and follow them around the whole time.
That would be, I would pay to see that. Can we do a pay-per-view golf tournament?
That would be very fun. Anyway, but our guys and girls, man, had a great day today on the golf course, and they're actually all off to a hot start. Our girls team and our guys team have both been outstanding as the year started. The girls today were at Alpine Golf Course in Longview, the East Texas Charter Tournament, and the girls once again won the tournament. Carly Ogletree She won the tournament as an individual with 79. Her sister Jenna got third with a 95, and the girls win again. I think they have won now multiple tournaments. I don't want to lie to you and tell you how many.
That's not even fair, having multiple siblings on a team.
And they're good, man. Like last year, I drove the golf team to the state golf tournament.
Of course you did. That sounds like something that you would volunteer for.
Hey, man. I'm putting it out there now. I'll volunteer to do it again.
Of course you will.
So I got to go with them on the day before, and they were doing their practice round. And if you ever want to feel like you don't know what you're doing, swing a golf club around Carly or Jenna Ogletree, because they'll make you feel really bad about yourself as a golfer.
They might think my swing's pretty good, though, Jeremy. I'm not a bad golfer.
I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter.
If I'm playing, I'm probably shooting. If I'm playing on a consistent basis, I'm probably shooting low 70s, or not low 70s, mid to high 70s and low 80s. That's where I'm at.
I can get in the 70s too, and then we make the turn. And
no, this is on 18 holes. I just grew up playing golf. I've probably played Alpine probably 7 or 8 times before I was even in high school. I mean, we played senior golf over there.
Kudos to you. But Carly, phenomenal day today with 79. Not to be outdone.
That's pretty good.
Our guys were over at Emerald Bay today on Monday, playing in the Bullard tournament. Yeah, and listen to this. Connor Carver shot a 70 to win the tournament.
Oh, no, that's out of my league. Good job, Connor. Good job.
Connor shoots a 70. Terry Kim finished 6th. Listen to this. He finished 6th with a 74. That's unbelievable.
The disrespect.
Yeah. But the team won again, and our big group wins that one. Coach Harrison and Coach French doing a great job with the guys and the girls, and involved in that. I don't have all the scores written down, so I apologize. But our guys, we shot like a 290, something like that.
Anything under 300 is a good team score.
So Connor has played really well so far. Jacob Seguin has played really well so far too. I didn't see what he scored today. He wasn't in the top, 5 or 6, but Jacob and Noah Sandlin were named captains. Coach Harrison wanted me to pass along that they were voted captains by the rest of the team, which is a cool deal. They both played really well so far. But they're getting different guys shooting that low score every week. And
you have multiple guys. I mean, those of you who don't know how golf works, in the team, you have 5 on a team. You drop the low score,
right?
So you basically have a mulligan score. They throw out the highest one.
Yep. And so all of our guys today were I think we're below 80.
That's good to choose. That's good to choose from. You're all below 80. That's pretty good.
Pretty solid. I couldn't shoot 80 today if you paid me, and that's on like 10 holes or 11 holes probably. But which is even a better reason why we should have me filming the golf tournament.
I think I need to challenge you to a golf match. Then
I'll gladly. If you're paying, I'll gladly go pay. I'll gladly go play. No,
well, the loser has to pay.
Oh well,
that's the way it works.
That's why I don't do that. Anyway,
I'll give you a shot. I'll give you a shot per hole. It's okay.
I think both of our teams got to state last year. I think they got to obviously have a great shot to do it again.
Yeah,
and you got guys shooting in the low, 70, and you got girls shooting in the 70s. You got a chance to win the whole thing. Honestly,
yeah.
So it'll be fun to watch them, and I know after spring break they'll kind of hit it hard and heavy, and we'll be following them as they go along. And not to slight them, but there's just so much going on right now. We're trying to just power through all this. Let's talk a little baseball, because you mentioned the weather being nice. Usually baseball coaches will tell you that how when it's baseball season, the weather gets bad.
When it starts raining.
Yeah, maybe it did at the beginning of practice when they started practicing, but they got to play. They opened the season last Monday at White House, lost to White House. It was like 8-4, 8-5, and everybody's like, why are you so excited about a loss? Well, White House is a pretty good baseball team. Yeah. They're pretty good. And Tommy Hilliard went over there and pitched a great game. And that one, I believe, is who it was. Could have been one of the two, him or Ben Bratz. I get the games confused. And then they swept Frisco Legacy. They had a little 2-game series. I'm sorry, not Frisco Legacy. This week. Pine Tree. They won against Pine Tree at home on Friday.
Shine Tree.
Yeah, Shine Tree is CM we call them. And then on Saturday, they went over to Pine Tree and beat them even more handily. So the baseball team off to a 2-1 start. They got kind of a crazy week this week. Thursday night, they'll be traveling up to Frisco Legacy to play a game. And then they're going to drive straight from Frisco to Waco, where they have a tournament on Friday and Saturday. So,
on the road again.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get on the road again.
I'd actually love to hear Coach English sing that song. I'm going to talk to him about that. I'm going to mention that to him. But kind of a weird scheduling deal where, when you have a new head coach come in, you hope that you get a full schedule of what somebody else already scheduled for you. It's kind of a weird scheduling thing where Coach English scheduled a tournament. Frisco Legacy was like, hey, we have a 3-game series. What are we going to do about it? And they agreed to just play one game Thursday and then, the tournament in Waco. So, but the guys are looking forward to that. And I tell you, they've had some pretty big performances on the mound from Tommy Hilliard and Ben Bratz. I mentioned both of those two guys. They've played really well so far. And now with basketball over, they get a lot, they get Lex Rich back. They get Boston Durrett. Not Boston. Man, he's going to get his cousin. Well, no, that's his cousin, man. I'm throwing it way back. Braxton Durrett comes out there, and they get those guys back. And so, they're going to have a good year too.
I'm excited. When's the tournament coming up, Jeremy? You guys still hosting a tournament?
Oh, man. I think it's at the end of – I don't know. Brett, don't get me lying to you. I think it's the end of spring break is when it is. Yeah, that's a fun one.
I'm trying to cover that one, so that's why I was wondering.
I think it's the end of spring break is when it is. But they've had a great start. Honestly, I mean, it's been fun to watch Coach English in his element. We haven't talked a lot about Coach English over the year, but you're talking about a guy who's won 600 plus games. You're talking about a guy who's coached multiple Cy Young Award winners. He coached the GM of the best baseball team in the world. Chris Young of the Texas Rangers played for Coach English.
World champion.
World champion. Best in the world. But it's a guy, man, who Coach English is as soft-spoken as anybody I've ever been around. But very intentional with what he says, very confident in what he does, and believes in doing things a certain way. And honestly, as a parent of someone of a kid who plays for him, couldn't be happier that my kid's playing for Coach English. And in addition to that, when you're getting all those great things from a coach, and then they're going to go be successful, that's even better. We
need to have him on the Fire the Cannon here, Jeremy.
He is a national treasure, by the way. Coach English played baseball at University of Texas.
All right.
We'll get into this. I'm going to get Coach English. We're going to do that. We're going to get him on here after spring break. But
we need some more coaches on. We hadn't had any
more coaches. Never mind. I'm here, but we need more, I guess. But anyway,
I said more. I didn't say.
Okay, I got you.
I wasn't discounting you. I just said more coaches.
But Coach English is a great guy to talk to, and it's actually kind of a cool story about him being here and how that all kind of came together. And it'd be great to have him on. So I'll work on that for you. Or for us, not just for you, but for all of us.
Yeah.
Because I love Coach English.
To enjoy. Especially as the new coach, let me get some of the Brook Hill family, they want to hear from a new coach.
I tell you what, and Coach English is a guy that you want to just hang out with when you get a chance. He literally one of the most humble guys I know, and I don't say that lightly, he really is. And you would never know what he's accomplished in baseball if you didn't know it. He's not going to tell you. You'd have fun on your own. So we got a good one with Coach English. So they'll be in action this week. Check them out. Not at home this week, but they'll be back home, I think, during spring break, and I think that tournament, so you get a chance to follow them as we go further. Softball.
We're going to have some of the games, too. So Keith, he's working on the schedule, but we'll have some baseball and softball on NSN. So we didn't forget you, baseball and softball.
It'll be fun. Yeah, it's coming. Softball, you mentioned those guys, and they kick off, if you're listening on Tuesday, they have their first regular season game. They had a scrimmage a couple weeks ago. It's kind of hard on the girls' side when you have girls playing different sports. You're trying to get enough to get some games in. And they were able to scrimmage Jacksonville a couple weeks ago. But their first real action is tonight. I believe that game starts at 5:30. They're taking on Poetry Community out of let me get my town straight, out of Terrell. And so they'll be in action Tuesday. I think they're in action Thursday and Friday also. I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a weird week with Spark, and some of our kids leave on Thursday or Friday for those trips. And so that may I think there's still kind of some up in the air about who will be available and who won't be. But tomorrow night's first chance to see them at home, and there's a soccer game going on. But
bring our binoculars, Jeremy. We could kind of glance over from the field over to the softball.
That'll be great TV.
They won't see it. Nobody can see us where we're looking.
Yeah, we'll be talking. So anyway, but the girls are in action Tuesday, and of course, you talk about coaches. You got Coach Anthony Springer, who's not just one of the best softball minds in East Texas, not even in the state of Texas, but across the country. I mean, talking about a guy who is, I don't know if world famous is the right way to put it, but he is known in the world of softball across the country, and has in terms of ASA certifications and levels of teaching and all this kind of stuff that he's accomplished. If you know him, you love him. He does it softball wise. There's nobody better than Anthony Springer.
Assistant coach isn't bad either.
Assistant coach, I know her. She's been with me for a few games on the basketball court. And Coach Brawley, of course, that's as much as I love having her in basketball. Softball's her thing. I mean, she was a van for 20 years, and
there's no doubt. Good coaches there. I mean, that's
well, the softball coaching staff might be the best one we have. With those two, truthfully, and in terms of top to bottom, what they've accomplished. But man, you talk about talent. And we talk about the guys who they have on the mound. What about Carmen Miller?
Ooh.
I mean,
I don't want to face her. Sorry, Carmen. I love you, but I don't want to face you on.
Yeah, I mean, Carmen, 200 plus strikeouts last year.
Like a strikeout machine. She's.
I don't know how many games they're going to get to play because of the late start and spring, all that kind of stuff. But like, she's a 200 plus strikeout girl every year. And if she was playing, 30 games a year, then it'd be way more than that. I mean, she's phenomenal, but not a one man show necessarily. I mean,
I have somebody behind you.
Yeah, there's they've had some injury concerns early on, and some girls that may or may not be around for part of the year or all the year. We're not real sure yet, but this is a team that was in the state championship game last year, and there's no reason to believe they can't be as successful again. When you have a girl like Carmen on the mound, you don't have to worry about defense as much during the year. Kind of gives you some time to get your feet wet and doing some things. I mean, I would say looking at the schedule, there's a handful of teams that are going to hit her. I mean, now in the playoffs, that's different, right? There's some teams that can play there, but the benefit of that is that you have time to work on things before you get there and
figure out who's going to play where and
And that's what Coach Springer does a good job. A lot of times he's in this boat because you have spark and spring break every year. You're going to miss those 2 weeks, so you kind of have to adjust your timing and how you get people ready. And so he'll figure it out, and they're going to be just fine. But tomorrow night, as I mentioned at home, maybe between the girls and the guys' soccer game, sneak on over there and watch for a little bit.
That game may be over quickly, though. She strikes out enough batters.
Yeah, it could be.
What's the run rule in
10 after? It's still 10 after 5.
Okay,
but
play 5 innings. It's not 15 after 4.
No, you can quit any time, I guess, if you want to.
Okay.
No, officially it's just 10 after 5. But you're right; it may not last long. Truthfully, tomorrow. So when the girls' soccer game ends, if you're in Harrington, go by the concession stand.
Halftime.
At
halftime of the soccer, starts at 5. Halftime of the soccer game, you go over and catch a softball. They may finish that up at halftime, and then you can come back over and catch the second half of the girls' game.
Yeah, and then in between games, if it's still going, go back and watch it. And a lot going on tomorrow in Brook Hill, and that's exciting. Oh man, we've talked about a lot. We haven't even mentioned track yet.
You mean they're running track? That makes me tired.
Yeah, I actually watched our middle schoolers run some track today, and I thought, yeah, that's torture. If I'm running, Brett, you better take off too, because something's chasing us.
That would be funny, because I don't know if I've ever seen you run anywhere, Jimmy.
I got to be honest, man. I don't know if I've seen myself run in a long time. I mean, here's the thing. Here's what the reason why I don't coach track is I just keep it real simple. Run fast, turn left, jump over anything in front of you. If you follow those 3 rules, you're going to win.
Okay.
I mean, but we have some guys who can go. We had a lot of state qualifiers last year, and I wish I had the list in front of me. We have one of the best female hurdlers in the state. Katie Fitzgerald has won state in the hurdles a couple of times now.
Hey, didn't you mention her before? Like,
yeah, she's a stud soccer player.
Okay, I thought so.
Stud cheerleader. I mean, she's the real deal in everything. But a multiple time state track meet winner in the hurdles. A kid I'm excited to watch on the girls' side, Savannah Onley. Right, we've seen her on the basketball court. But she's going to run the 800 in high jump, I believe, right now. And looking at her times and her heights from last year, she's going to have a legitimate chance to win the state track meet in both of those events potentially.
Coach Hubbard does track.
The other, not my wife, Coach Hubbard. We've had to really
volleyball Coach Hubbard.
Volleyball Coach Hubbard. Yeah, we've had to really kind of work on what we're going to call this. So, but yeah, the girls' team it's not a huge group, but it does have some very strong contenders. On the guys' side, I think they have enough guys to go out and, win some meets. A couple of great field event guys. You got Alexander Hutaniemi is a great thrower. He went to the state track meet last year.
Alexander the Great.
Yeah, you got some other guys who are going to throw this year. I believe Aaron Pekarinen is throwing. So you got some meat up there to throw the shot and discus. Jumpers, we lost. Jacob D last year, the basketball player, he was a very good high jumper. Mm-hmm. Pole vaulter, I tell you, I'm excited. Listen to this, Brett. If you want to see a pole vaulter, you have a freshman this year named Cal Grubbs. Cal's dad, Chad, listens to Fire the Cannon regularly. It's 56 minutes in today, so maybe he's still listening. But I love watching Cal pole vault, and I'm excited about watching Cal as he goes throughout the year. Hope he gets a chance to do so and do well. He, as a middle schooler the last few years, not only was he winning middle school track meets, he was getting to heights that would have won him a bunch of high school track meets. So It'll be fun to see how Cal progresses. And then on the running side, I'm excited. We got a lot of new guys that are out there running track. Your nephew Tyler will be out there.
And Tyler's running some track because he's run track the last couple of years in Bullard. So
Tyler can run, man. He can run
fast. He's not related to me technically by blood, but he's pretty fast. He's got track in the blood though. Well, Tony ran long distance. Tyler's got that short distance speed.
Well, if he ever has to get chased by something, I mean, he can win short distance. I don't know. But Tyler's going to do well. We have a bunch of guys who advanced to last year to the state track meet. I'm excited about watching them. I mentioned earlier in the show, we host a bunch of track meets. And those are, I don't know if Medicine wants to broadcast a track meet. That'd be interesting. However,
we talked about it. It's just, how would you have to have like several different cameras? I don't know. We've thought about trying a track meet at some point.
Yeah. Well, you can get me firing the gun. I do fire the gun. I don't fire the cannon, but I do fire the pistol at all the track meets except for the district one.
I want the cannon to work. That would be cool.
What if they let me fire the cannon at the start of every race?
We could use that for our intro.
Honestly, I'm going to work on that. I think we could pull it off. I don't wear earplugs when I fire the pistol, which is a stupid decision because usually about the fifth or sixth time I fire that thing, I'm deaf for the next week. But I can imagine with the cannon, I have to put the earplugs in.
See it now. Our intro, we get you firing off the cannon, and then we fade in. We should go video. We should go video with this. People don't get to see the video; they're listening to it. But I do. I think that the fire of the cannon needs to transition at some point and get the video on. I think that'd be, people want to see us, but that would be a cool video intro. You got Coach Hubbard down there on the track, firing the cannon off, the smoke goes up, fade in with some music. Oh, it's perfect.
I'm liking the way that sounds.
But hey, let us know if you'd like to hear or you'd like to see the video.
Oh gosh.
Like let us know. Like we can still do the audio, but let us know if you want to post the YouTube.
We'll never get coaches on here if they're going to be, or we'll get coaches who like dress up for it. I can see
they could wear their outfit or wear their their game attire.
I can see like Coach Collins in a nice button-down shirt with a sweater vest on. Have like his dog sitting beside him. That'd be kind of cool. Why not?
It could be a lot of fun.
We can get Coach Kofer just to flex the whole time next time we have Coach Kofer on. Right.
We need to get the students on here. I still think we need to get a couple of athletes on here, Jeremy.
Man, Maybe we had a lot of things to work. Listen,
I'm throwing some ideas out there.
this has been a very successful at times, questionable at times venture for this year, and we've learned some things from it. Like we've learned some things that we can do better. Mainly, like find somebody who's not a basketball coach to help out during the winter sports, so we don't completely ignore the winter.
The odd thing was, I thought, man, we're gonna have lots of episodes because he's gonna want to do basketball, and then it's like, it was so busy that
Yeah, well, busy and like, man, I got to watch film or whatever. But yeah, we need to get it done. So it will get better. And the video thing is not a terrible idea. But we just,
maybe we'll make it special. Like sometimes we have a video version or something.
Some of our coaches have faces made for radio. So we just,
I
didn't say anybody in particular, but
you just threw everybody under the bus. Tomorrow they're going to listen to this, and they're going to all think that it was them you were talking about.
I was only talking about Coach Agnew, but anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, don't at me, bro. Anyway, Brett, we have.
I want him on his I want him in his throwback jersey he had on the night for you guys' game.
He listen.
I feel like he was one of the students. Had his hat on, had his throwback jersey.
You've never seen Coach Agnew dance. My man Agnew can dance, and the kids beg him to dance all the time. He was wearing the Fresh Prince jersey, but my man does the Carlton better than Carlton did.
Oh, okay.
It's wild.
Maybe we need to have him on doing his dance. That would be entertaining.
He would probably do it. You give him a Whataburger gift card, he'll do anything. Truthfully.
Oh, man.
Truthfully. Anyway.
Well, what about the tennis?
Tennis is going strong, man. Golly, and they're finally getting everybody back. I know that. I mean, another one of the basketball players, Juliana Mize, will be going now, and the girls have a great chance to be successful down the road. The guys too, and they're kind of getting kicked off, and so we'll kind of follow them as we go along. I am not going to broadcast a tennis match because you talk about me not knowing anything about soccer. Put me in front of a tennis match, I'll really be lost.
Foot fault.
Yeah, I'm not sure what fault means.
40-15. Brook Hill Serving.
Yeah, I want to play basketball by that scoring method. How you go from 0 to 15 to 30 to 40.
I still don't understand why it's that way. I don't understand why it goes 15 to 30, then to 40. Why does it go 45?
Speaking of national treasures, we have one as our tennis coach, Hutton Jones, by the way. Okay. Coach Jones is a national treasure. He also is a country and western singer. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother episode because
he needs to sing the theme song for the Fire the Cannon.
He has, look him up on Spotify, Hutton Jones, and it's there.
We need to have him. He can write us a song for the Fire the Cannon.
You can thank me later. Hutton Jones on Spotify.
Okay.
Thank me later. All right, guys. An hour and 2 minutes, by far the longest episode, but a lot to get in. Make sure you're at the soccer games tonight, 5 and 7 at Harrington Stadium. Softball's home at 5:30. A lot going on. Follow us on social media, on Twitter at Brook Hill Guard, Instagram at Brook Hill Guard, Facebook at Brook Hill Guard Athletics. Follow NetSN on YouTube. Follow NetSN Live on Twitter. I think there's a NetSN Facebook too.
Yeah,
follow all that. And man,
if you want more of this, tune in tonight.
Or if you want, you shouldn't have said that. Nobody's going to watch now. All right. We'll see you next time, guys, here on Fire the Cannon. Thanks for listening.